The Municipality of North Cypress-Langford is located to the south of Neepawa, bordering the town on three sides and stretching south past Carberry as far as Shiloh to the west and Edrins to the east. Total population for the area is 2,860, with a land area of 1,762 square kilometers within 6 wards. Before we get into this month's meeting of the North Cypress-Langford Council, we just wanted to address something up front. It came to light following this month's meeting that the CAO has been dismissed from her position as of December 15th, and the assistant CAO is now the acting CAO of the municipality. As the activities that led to this dismissal are still under investigation, no other details are available at this time. This month's meeting began with a delegation from Neepawa, consisting of representatives from the Yellowhead Centre, the Golf and Country Club, and the Curling Club. According to Wayne Jacobson, board president for the Yellowhead Centre, a recent operational audit on the Yellowhead recommended the development of a strategic plan, and that process made it clear that the facility would likely need to be replaced within the next 20 years. That was when he thought it would be an opportune time to reach out to the golf course and the curling club and see if there might be an opportunity for a joint facility. They have even identified a piece of property near the current golf course and owned by the town of Neepawa that could serve that purpose. They came before the North Cypress-Langford Council not to ask for anything at this time other than for representation to sit on the steering committee once it's formed, so the entire area would be fairly represented and on the same page when it came to planning a new regional facility. In planning matters, we revisit a few issues that have come to the table before. The new zoning bylaws, which have been under review and revision for several months now, are ready to come back for a second public hearing in the new year. The planning department has incorporated several suggested changes and believes the new bylaws to be a fair compromise for all involved. As well, the lagoon build at Spruce Woods Colony, which was built without proper planning permissions, is finally before council for a decision regarding the necessary variance and conditional use orders. Council still had questions about the distances from various nearby waterways and frontages, however, and because the project has not yet received provincial licensing either, they decided to defer a decision into January. Other planning matters included a couple of routine subdivisions, and a new item was brought to council regarding a dispute between a contractor and homeowner that has been going on since April. As there are safety issues that need to be addressed, the homeowner has been given a final deadline by written order by which to complete the necessary fixes. There is no action that council needs to take at this time, but the planning department wanted them to be aware of the situation in case it drags on even further. Finally, Councillor Jardine reported that a new doctor will be visiting the community this week, and a second has expressed interest as well. Carberry area has struggled with consistent healthcare staffing. This is potentially very good news for the area. Other items at the December meeting were all fairly routine and handled quickly, including some equipment replacement, employee training, the new Carberry transfer station build, and release of reserve funds to the Brookdale Curling Centre to replace their ice plant. Following is the Municipality of North Cypress-Langford's December meeting in its entirety.
Resolution 301-2023 be resolved the financial statement for November 2023 be referred to council. Can I have a mover, please? Seconder?
Murray.
Any questions on the financial statement as presented? Anything to look at in there, Teresa? Comments?
You notice there's a bunch of void checks there. Yeah. It was just a matter of it got printed without the checks in the printer. Oh, so they had to void all those and redo them. Yes.
Oh, wait. Paperwork.
Yes.
Understandable.
Nepal Wildlife, that was for their irrigation system, was it, or something, or?
I believe so.
I'm not sure. For their dock, possibly?
Or dock, yeah.
I think there's one of the other distributor systems in Lake.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't give me the checks there. Do you want me to grab?
Pardon me?
Do you want me to grab the checks?
Probably wouldn't hurt.
Sure.
Got a
We'll
minute,
put it right
mind,
back, yeah.
please? Thank you.
Did you have a good enough drive down?
Yeah.
Sounds like Wayne's out there now.
Yeah.
Bel Air and out there.
You want to go
Well,
grab
close.
He's coming. He's coming.
Better on the highways than in town
He's
anyway.
gonna come in anyway, come on
Better on the
in.
highways than in town.
Yeah, usually.
For sure.
Usually.
Good
morning. Hasn't even been 12 hours since I saw you last.
We had to stop meeting like this.
Pull up another chair there, guys.
See it there, please. 170.
It's a grant from the Beautiful Plains Community Foundation. Yeah,
Okay,
there's a letter attached.
okay.
Beautiful Plains Community Foundation for them.
Any other questions on the financial report for now, then, Stephen? Mover and seconder, all in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you very much. Want to do the checks too while we're here then? Resolution 302, 2023, be it resolved that the accounts check number 30135 to check number 30232 totaling $493,589.90 and direct deposits withdrawals totaling $77,930.64 be approved for payment. Have a mover, please. Harold, seconder. Davidson. Any questions on the checks? We sort of went through them there a bit. Any other comments, concerns, anyone? Questions? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Mr. Jacobson, you're up.
Good morning.
And we'll do some introductions here first. Go ahead, we'll start down here.
Grant Jardine, Municipal Councilor, Ward 3.
Malcolm Murray, Counselor.
Jaron Davidson.
Ray Drayson.
Teresa Parker.
Dallas Homestead Deputy Reeve.
Harold Tolton. Rob Van Comer.
Good morning. I'm
You
Wayne.
guys introduce yourselves.
Yes,
Yeah?
I'm Wayne Jacobson. I'm the board president for the Yellowhead Center in Ipawa.
Warren McLeod, President, Neepawa Golf and Country Club.
I'm Jeff Cook. I'm president of the Municipality of North Cypress-Langford.
Well, thank you guys for coming down. Go ahead.
Well, thank you for having us. Maybe I'll give a little bit of background to start with. The Yellowhead Center underwent an audit, an operational audit in January of this past year by Deloitte Touche. And as a result of that audit, they made a number of recommendations. And one of those recommendations was the development of a strategic plan. And of course, we looked at that in the sense of the strategic plan in the short term, 3 to 5 years, and a strategic plan in the long term being 10 to 20 years. And part of that observation drew us to the conclusion that the arena portion of the Yellowhead Center will most likely be there 10 years from now. Will it be there and be probably as equally as important, efficient to run 20 years from now? And I think the answer to that is no, it's not likely. And that then made us realize that our long-term strategy needed to look at the replacement of certainly the arena facility in Neepawa. That conclusion sort of led us to the thought that it might be an opportune time to partner with the golf course and the curling rink for a joint facility. We have identified some property up around the golf course that would facilitate a single facility that would include an arena, a curling rink, a year-round restaurant slash clubhouse, a new clubhouse, and cart storage, that type of thing. So we reached out to Warren and to Jeff, and I believe that all of our boards came to the conclusion that that was a good direction to look at. The ability to have one ice plant instead of two ice plants, or one building instead of two buildings. The ability to have, like I said, a year-round restaurant where staffing not only for that restaurant or the contract of that restaurant, but the staffing for the facility could become year-round permanent employees rather than every year trying to find people to come in to work in the arena during the wintertime or in the hall during the summertime type of thing. So I guess our main purpose here, what we've come to conclude, is that in order to move forward, we would need to have an independent steering committee. The golf course is going to continue doing their thing, and we're going to continue to do our thing in the near future, whatever that timeline is. Who knows? Maybe that this isn't feasible, but in order to explore the likelihood of that happening and the ability to make it happen, I think it needs to be done by a steering committee of independent, but comprised of members of our three boards. And I believe we're all in agreement that it's incredibly important to have all four municipal governments represented in that steering committee. We very much view a new facility as being a regional facility. And again, I'm speaking on behalf of the golf course and the curling rink, but certainly the users of our facility are predominantly residents throughout all four RMs. And I guess I'm primarily talking about Langford, but certainly Langford, Rosedale, Lansdowne, and the town of Neepawa. So I guess our ask for today's presentation is that on the assumption that we get a steering committee formed and up and running, we would like to have representation from the RM on that steering committee so that you are at the table and hearing what's going on firsthand.
The only thing I'd add is just I'd let you guys know that none of these facilities are town-owned in the town of Neepawa. So the Neepawa Curling Club is owned by the Neepawa Curling Club. Yellowhead it's run by a board. The same with the golf course. So this has been initiated by the Yellowhead, and jointly. It's not a town effort currently. So that's why we're making sure that we want to. We have a lot of users from outside of just the town of Neepawa. So.
Question.
Yeah, go ahead, Jerry.
So would you guys be forming one board for the new facility or having joint ownership, or how are you gonna?
I think that remains to be seen.
Yeah.
Like the steering committee.
You'll
now-
decide all that in the steering.
As
Right.
time evolves and if it's not possible to include the golf course, because again, that's part of the, if you want to call it synergy or efficiencies, but if it turns out that there's not sufficient land or for some reason it can't be included, then I believe the curling rink and the arena would still look to do something joint. So until we start getting down that road and decide, okay, now we've got, yes, it'll work in that area, okay, and we've got a feasibility study saying whether it's zoning or whether it's drainage. I know there's some drainage issues in that area that they're working on. So until those things get resolved, I think ultimately, I don't know if it's when the door opens or 5 years ahead of time, I think there would be an independent body responsible for the new facility.
Yeah, I mean, I think the governance probably should get hammered out earlier rather than later, but.
And it still would be like a standalone facility, not owned by the town or the municipalities?
Yeah, actually, that was one of the recommendations from Deloitte Touche, is that it continue to be an independently administered facility.
Right.
Quick question. The studies that you're talking about, looking at possibly doing for the land and moving ahead for the steering committee, would you be looking for municipal money to help fund this, or would it be solely coming from your own coffers? Just Just a quick question.
Yeah. I think initially we don't have the answer to that until we have a steering committee. What we did initially talk about was the three boards putting an amount of money into a pool, because obviously it's going to take some money in order to get.
We just did one down here to the Carberry facility, and it's very expensive. That's just why I had to ask.
I think there's certainly the belief that there's going to be a certain investment by the three boards to get to this, on down the road.
Yeah.
And Wayne phoned me about this about a month ago and brought the idea up, so I told him to make an appointment, come on down and talk to us about it. Let us know. It's a good first step.
Yeah, I mean, we're a long way from, anything concrete, but, we gotta start somewhere, so.
Yeah.
Well, you have some good investment already, those two buildings and the land they're on.
Well,
They're worth something.
yeah, that quite frankly, that's sort of our thought, is that the land that we've identified is owned by the town of Nipawin. But what we're proposing is that if they hold that land, if we determine it's sufficient and it'll work, that they hold that land for us with the view that whenever the day comes and we vacate the premises, that the town of Nipawin would get the land that the curling rink is on and that the Yellowhead is on, and then they've got a reason to hold that land.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Anybody else got any other questions for them? Warren, you got any comments there?
Well, probably one of the newer ones in Nipawin, but yet I've been there a long time. We had an opportunity years ago to, I think, combine the golf course and the curling rink, and that didn't happen, and it's, so that thought has been there for a long time, and here we missed that boat, so we got another opportunity here now, and I know that this isn't the first time it's been brought up amongst the boards and the people associated with each of these organizations, but just now seems like a good time to at least get the wheels in motion, and so that we don't miss it the second time around, and not to say that it'll happen anyway, but at least let's look at that opportunity. So
Good, thank you very much. I think it's a good first step. At least you're talking, brought it to municipalities. Hopefully you're going to the town and the RMs and talking about it too. But you gotta start somewhere.
Yes, yeah.
exactly.
We have presented to the town of Nipawin, and our intention is to present to the other two RMs. And again, just to reiterate that at this point in time, we're not asking for anything monetary or whatever, just participation. Because again, I really emphasize that especially the joint venture will definitely be regional in nature. We're just talking about that on the way down today. I don't know what our numbers are, but I'm pretty confident in saying between the golf course and the curling rink and our facility that 50% of our users or members are from outside the town of Nipawin. So it certainly provides a very important recreational facility for our residents.
Anybody else, any other comments? Teresa, you're okay? Everybody else, everybody?
We're good.
The only thing I ask is, how long a plan do you have? Like, I'm just sitting here comparing between what we do with the town of Carberry, like, all the facilities down here are municipal owned, like not just the land, the facility themselves. And they're run by a joint committee, and we knew that rink over there is going to need replaced, and we've done studies and that, and we came up with a 20-year plan. And
Well, I'm just hoping that I'm still around if this new facility gets opened up. But I think the important thing here is, for it to happen, we can't wait 5 years or 10 years. It's going to take 15 or 20 years to make it come to fruition.
So yeah, you're right. It probably is it's probably very likely a 20-year timeline.
But you gotta take the first step.
Yes.
asking for input, then
Yep.
you have to do that.
Yeah. What's it going to look like? Like, is it going to be a big hall with other, usage types involved. We don't know that with, between the land and the cost, and that's again a part of that walk down the road.
Yep, yep.
Any other comments? Well,
Sounds good.
thank you guys
Thanks,
for
guys.
coming down.
Thank you.
Appreciate
And
it.
so I guess moving forward, like I said, we are still going to present to the other two RMs with exactly the same request. And I'm hoping sometime in the new year, whether it's January or March, or that we will reach out and say, we have a steering committee sort of developed, and we're inviting you to attend the first meeting type of thing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Sounds good, Teresa?
Yes.
Everything?
Great, thank you for.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Okay,
Thank you very
awesome.
much.
Thank you very much.
Hey.
Appreciate your time.
All the winter.
Well, so far so good.
Highway 5 right now, you could darn near throw a stone and chase it home.
See you guys, thank you.
Bye.
Hey Rachel, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you. Okay, I'm going to plan matters. Resolution 303, 2023, be it resolved the council adjourn its regular meeting at 9:23 a.m. for the purpose of holding a public hearing regarding an application for a conditional use order and variation orders. Can I have a mover, please?
Grant.
Grant, seconder. Motion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you very much. Guess we're a little bit early for some of them here, right, Rachel? You wanna
Yeah,
wait
so-
till 9:30? You got anything else you wanna go over before we get to them?
Well, we definitely have to wait for 9:30 for the first variation order. We obviously have a subdivision to discuss as well. Was there any comments from anyone on the comments that I provided with the zoning bylaw?
What did you think of you, Teresa?
We have 5 licensed livestock operations in this municipality.
You betcha.
Why are they not on the map?
Well, we had talked to the province about that, and we actually had brought Michelle in, it was Michelle Erb. And no, we don't provide that type of third-party information into the zoning bylaws, so we generally don't identify those things. Obviously, livestock operations, the livestock number fluctuates. So any time that we had a variation in that, we would have to redo maps, especially if they drop below their numbers. So we were basically advised by the province that we shouldn't put that type of map into the bylaw. It's the only reason why we didn't.
That doesn't make sense because it's the province that licenses.
It is, and it's the province that maintains their own list and map, even though they claim that there isn't that sort of information available through them.
I got it through access to information yesterday.
Well, it's not something that the province recommended, so it's the only reason why we didn't proceed with that into the bylaw.
I think we discussed this earlier, Harold. Maybe one of the meetings you weren't at. There was something about, it was the premises ID, they don't want to.
There is certain premises we cannot identify.
Right, and I believe that's possibly what this fell under. I believe that's possibly what, because we had this discussion.
We've had this discussion a few times now. Yeah.
I think that's where it fell. Sorry.
Because that's something, the minute you do it, it's gonna come back to bite you right away. Because unfortunately, it is planning's responsibility to separate livestock operations from.
Why not?
Yeah, and we do have setbacks for individual residences, and then as well as the designated areas like the general development and the rural residential. And if we were to establish any other rural residential, we would have to obviously be very careful with that. But those are things, obviously those are development plan amendments and zoning bylaw amendments that also get circulated out to the province, and they're the ones that usually provide comment that there is something that we need to be looking at. But you are right, it is up to planning to be aware of the operations that we have within the municipality and within our zones, for sure. So generally speaking though, especially when it comes to certain livestock operations that have biosecurity hazards, I'm not on site to be able to confirm livestock numbers. We have to go with what is provided from the facility at the time. So
Do you not have to go with the number they got themselves licensed with?
generally speaking, yeah. Now they are allowed to expand up to 15% without opening up their conditional use order. So that was an amendment that was made to Bill 19, if I'm not mistaken. So there is some room for fluctuation there. Now again, typically speaking, the province does notify us when we do have operations that are expanding, even if they are only expanding by less than 15%. And again, we have a fairly good idea of where those larger operations are, and we don't have any proposed development in those areas for designated areas, because the bigger concern is a designated area than it is an individual yard site. So even though we do have requirements for setbacks for that, but it's the designated areas that are more of a concern. So.
And what about the ones that are right on the edge of the municipality that have their inside the municipality? Do you have that list? Do you mean operations? We have a couple of operations that are right on the edge that are outside the municipality, but their separation distance includes the municipality.
For that, I don't have information on the. I haven't looked personally for information on livestock facilities outside of our jurisdiction. If there are known livestock operations that have setback issues in that area, obviously we would want to know about that, and I can reach out to the the adjacent municipalities and determine what those locations are.
Okay. How's your part 3 coming?
So I've completed all my educational courses. At this point in time, I just need direction from the municipalities to apply to the province to have that authority delegated to the municipalities. So we have a mentor. We actually have 2 different options depending on which route we want to take. So at this point in time, it's just approval from the municipalities to apply, because I have to apply on the municipality's behalf. So.
Do you need a resolution from us?
I would, yep.
Okay.
Generally speaking, I was going to hit the table in January and just get the ball rolling in January. It's all set up and ready to go in the province. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Just a start fresh year, and then we can, because the planning district also has to open up their fees bylaw to be able to handle the change in the Part 3 permits. And we don't actually have a meeting in December, so.
And you'll have some wording for us to help.
You betcha. Yeah, I can draft a resolution for that, for sure.
Okay, being as it's 9:30, do we want to start with this BO9 2023 Corp? Go ahead, Rachel.
For sure.
Do you want to check if there's anyone up front?
I want to check. and see-
Somebody just walked through the parking lot.
Hit the ground too many times, it has that wobble now, so I can't handle it wobbling on the table.
No one's out front.
Nothing new? Go ahead, Rachel.
Okay, so this is variation order 9 of 23 for NCL. This is on behalf of, so it's a Manitoba Number Company. It is the Reynolds property. It's Carl Birch is applying on behalf of the registered owners. So this is the hemp facility. So in order to reduce the size of, or it's actually an increasing, not a reducing. So we've got an agricultural parcel that was over the required acres with the subdivision, which was 4155-22-8448. They're actually cutting that yard site out, but they're cutting a little bit more because it's considered specialized agriculture, the hemp processing. They needed at least 10 acres, and they've actually gone beyond that. So they have 11.48, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 11.84. So again, just a simple variation order to allow them to expand over the 10 acres. So very simple subdivision and very simple variation order. we haven't received any comments from anyone, or anyone looking for information on this one either. So again, this subdivision was from 2022, and they're just working through all the minor conditions that they had set. So, is there any questions on this one?
Anybody got any questions, comments?
So what do they actually do there? They process hemp for fiber?
That I'm not entirely sure. So the conditional use for that was established before my time, and I'm not actually sure if the hemp facility is operational at this point.
It wasn't when I walked through it.
Yeah, so they've been granted permission from the province to operate it, and obviously they have a conditional use order standing with the municipality for specialized ag, but I'm not sure what the overall plan is for it. I know that there is still the design intent, which is why the application is for specialized ag, but I'm not sure what the intent is. It's definitely hemp, not to be confused with the cannabis, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the processing would be. So
I was just curious.
no, for sure, I can definitely dig that old conditional use order out and send information for sure.
Do they still have that living quarters in there?
So the original design did include some form of living quarters. Now at this point in time, the application, because it's for specialized ag, it wasn't a requirement from the planning district or the province to verify if there was a dwelling unit attached to it. I am under the assumption that there is a dwelling unit in that facility, because the plans did also include for a separation. Now, again, with it all being prior to my time at the planning district, I'm not sure how much has transpired in that building itself. So
Does that matter to this?
no. Yeah, I'd say at this point in time it wasn't a requirement, because if it was establishing a rural non-farm dwelling site, it would be different, because that would be a site that is rural residential in nature, not applicable to agriculture. But because it's specialized ag, it doesn't really affect this. So again, very straightforward. There was no additional access needed. Nice little cut. And we always like to see larger parcels cut when they do agriculture, especially specialized agriculture. They can get away with being a lot smaller. We typically like to see that 80 acres, but it's not necessary for the type of facility that they're running. So.
Any more comments, questions for Rachel on that one?
That one's the easy one.
We get a few minutes here for the next one. When's our next meeting?
5 minutes?
The hearings? Yeah,
No,
so
no, when's our next planning board meeting?
January.
Pardon me?
January.
That's what I kind of thought.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
There was no comment into the municipality on that one, was there? Nothing came in. I wasn't expecting anything for this one. It's pretty quiet, so.
I'm gonna wait another 5 minutes here for this next one. Okay, Rachel? Anybody need a second for a minute or whatever?
Everyone.
No, I have to ask twice. Rachel?
It's much easier for sure. Okay, so in this application, we have 2 hearings that we're actually doing. So have to talk about the conditional use order first. We have to establish the use prior to varying the use down. So this is conditional use order 12 of 23 for NCL. This is for Brookdale Holding to establish the wastewater sewer lagoon system that they have currently on their property. So again, it's the cart before the horse situation, because we know that the application has been circulated through the province and the lagoon has already been built. So we're playing a little bit of catch up. Not that that's, again, I always prefer to see things done in the right order, but we can appreciate when things get missed. So like I said, this is the lagoon for Northwest 17, 12, 15. It is located on the adjacent parcel. It's not located on the same parcel as the colony itself. It's one over. The Hog Lagoon kind of straddles the 2 parcels, and then this lagoon for domestic will be right on the other side. So there was some concerns with setbacks. They meet the setback requirement between the residents and the adjacent quarter. What they don't meet, which is a variation order, is the front setback. So instead of being 125 feet, they built it at 99 feet. Pardon me. I'm not sure how that was missed because their engineer was the one that put together this package. And he references that our zoning bylaw, so it's clearly laid out in our zoning bylaw about that front setback. But again, it's at this point in time, it's built. So it's council needs to decide whether or not they want to approve these orders. So.
Is that residential lease, this one you say, or?
This one is residential. This is domestic effluent as well as the slaughterhouse effluent. So it is. So I didn't go into a lot of detail in my council letter just because there was that whole packet that was submitted by the province. It is an interesting application. They are planning on taking the effluent from the lagoon and putting it into Boggy Creek and having it filtered out that way. Again, it is as clean as they can get it, otherwise the province wouldn't even let them look at it. So into Boggy Creek isn't so much of a concern, but it is definitely domestic. Their old, and I'm sure you guys are all aware, their old lagoon was deemed by the province to be retrofitted and replaced. And I don't think retrofitted was even a word they used because it was in dire need of being replaced. So this was something that Sprucewoods Colony has been working on for quite a while. And I think that's where the error occurred, is that they were under the impression, because the province told them they had to do it, that the process didn't need all the formal approvals. But obviously we like paperwork and we like approvals. So has everyone had a chance to kind of go over the packet? It's there was quite a number of pages in it. I flagged a handful of things, but as I kind of went through the application, I reached out to Abby Bingham, who's our contact for Conservation and Climate, or I know that's not the right name, but everyone knows that name. And she kind of walked me through. Obviously, cart before the horse, bit of panic, but everything seems to be as copacetic as possible. So,
Jaron, go ahead.
On their other lagoon for the animal waste,
you betcha.
did they have to get a variation? Was it 99 feet as well?
So actually, it's not, and that seems to be where the issue lies. So that conditional use was part of the technical conditional use for intensive livestock. I'm not sure how that lagoon got placed so close to property line. It's slightly further than, or
So
further
it's
set
closer
in.
than 99 feet?
No, it's further out, so it's more. It would fall into a minor variation,
Okay.
Which is that 15 within that 15%, but it's definitely not 125 feet, which I think is where the error is, because we talk very specifically about where we're to measure, and I think they just took the setback from their front setback to the wrong spot.
I was just wondering if they just lined up the...
No, they're actually staggered.
Offset.
They are staggered.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Robbie?
It would be the southeast corner of the new lagoon. How close is it to the creek? I'm just wondering if that 99 feet was used to keep that
Oh, it's entirely possible.
Oh,
So-
yeah, to have more space on that
on
end.
the end creek.
Yeah.
So that, I mean,
Could, yeah.
That is not a
You-
dimension I looked at. So
you hate questioning that, but if that other end was too close to the creek, they could gain 30 feet, 25 feet from the road allowance without doing it this way before everything's questionable. Question, I guess.
okay, so the maps associated with this one are really difficult to read. But I want to say,
And what do you judge as the creek, the high water mark, or?
oh wait,
average?
yeah, it would be the average shoreline. It wouldn't be the high water mark.
It is pretty close there now. I don't know, have you looked at that corner?
It's very close.
So if they take 25 feet, I'll never be able to see it if it's that tight.
Well, I would say 60 meters.
Ooh.
Is that not? Because there's the toe. Because that's the dimension you're looking for.
Yeah, but that's the creek there, right?
Oh, okay.
Like that's the creek by the corner. Like it is very
Yeah.
close.
It's entirely possible, and again, they were working with an engineer who does an extensive amount of work on lagoons, so it could be a reason why they kept that setback. I can look into that. It's not a setback that we, as a planning district,
No,
are
it's just
concerned
if
with, but it could be a valid reason on why they pulled the lagoon
And
further.
if that corner is within that 25 feet of being legal, to the creek, that would be a problem in general.
Right,
Correct?
yeah.
Yeah, that would be for somebody else to
Yeah.
determine though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so with that being said, the circulation for this application through the province ended on, where did it go, the date? December 4th. So they still have not received provincial licensing on this project. So what they could end up having the province come back and say no. And one of the only condition we listed out in the variation order and the conditional use order is that the applicant is required to meet all conditions set by the provincial authority to establish and operate a private wastewater lagoon. So if the province decides that this application isn't valid or that they've got concerns with it, they won't give them the lagoon license, and then these would be null and void because they haven't met the provincial requirement. So even if the municipality grants some approval, they still have one larger hurdle to get through with the province. So.
Why wouldn't we trust the province to be the one that's?
Yeah, they generally have a lot for harsher restrictions than we do. And again, knowing that this is something that they've kind of, they were also caught unaware with the construction of it. So they have been going over it, and like I said, Abby Bingham and I have been chatting quite a bit on this project. So
The engineer has signed.
yes, yeah. So in order. Yeah, so typically what happens is the engineer is the one that applies for the permit and the circulation. So it was signed off by Peter Grieger September 5th of 2023. So he signed the application, he got all the documents ready to go, and I'm not sure what happened after that, but he has signed off on the project. So
What liability is he under now?
for
That our variation, it is not met. And
so his overall design, with the fact that he noted out the conditional use order as a requirement, but didn't note that there was a variation order that needed to be done, that is a good question. It would be, if this wasn't approved, and obviously if they don't get approvals from the municipality and the province, they aren't able to operate, that would be a huge cost to them because obviously they've already built it. It's not quite complete, they still have some work to do, but yeah, it would have to go back to the engineer to figure out what to do with that, but he is liable because he is the one that put the plan together. And he actually should have been monitoring the actual design of it and the construction of it because it is his stamp on the actual lagoon drawings.
so with that being a concern and the question about how close that corner is,
Yep.
is that something that we could say no to at this time? I just,
You could, yeah, the council could defer the variation order. You could defer both of them if you wanted to. The next, we would pull that meeting into January, and I could go back and I could gather more information. Knowing that the province hasn't granted them the provincial license does give the municipality time to hold off. I know Mr. Woolman wanted to get the ball rolling with all the paperwork that he knew he needed to catch up on. But again, just because the applications are at the table doesn't mean that it needs to be decided on right now. Like you could defer it into January.
Or we could make our issues known to the province.
well, that would be through Rachel.
Right, and then the province would understand our concerns. Moving forward, we approve it as long as these actually are met and you guys are happy with it, and let it fall on the province's shoulders.
We could just stand pat right now until the province comes back with their concerns. If Rachel gives her those two
Yeah.
concerns, I mean,
No, you're right, it's either or.
it's
their job.
It's their job, like that engineer is,
Well, not only
I
that,
believe in myself.
yeah, just because it's built doesn't mean that it's gonna get to stay built or stay in the location it's in. Obviously, there's a huge cost associated with pulling out the complete lagoon system. But again, the province hasn't issued a permit yet, or their license to operate. So it does give the municipality time to hold off and think about it.
they could make it smaller and build something else. Like, but it's that,
To make it work, yeah.
they are planning to empty into that creek, which they already do to a point, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not, part of it's gonna go, I would assume, over time, but they're gonna meet rules like everybody else. And that's all back in that engineer as far as
And when are they gonna discharge the waste into the creek? Like, are they discharging it in June to July when the water's stagnant? Like this,
Yeah, that.
like if the water's stagnant, you're discharging product into a creek with stagnant water, it's just gonna,
You can smell that, eh? Half a
Not
mile
held
each
up.
way, mile each way, yeah. I mean, like you said, the province has their rules, but
I know they discuss, yeah, so discharge duration, to compute, 1 second. November 1st to June 15th, I think is the time, but again, I'm not as familiar with wastewater lagoons as I should be to be, discussing this project. It's definitely in this application. Again, if council's got any concerns, I would recommend holding off. It's not like you can't discuss it again in January. And the province hasn't granted a license for it, so it's not like it's municipality.
It's not waiting.
Yes. No, gosh, no. And at this point in time, with the amount of snow we have on the ground and the fact that they still haven't, they need a lift station and they need all sorts of other things. It's not like if you don't grant them approval today that they won't be able to operate it, because they still aren't going to be able to operate it until all the items get addressed. So.
What's the feeling? Wait for the government and
I
put it out for
think
another
it's
vote?
better just wait.
my feelings
Wait it out,
prefer.
yep.
Even though it is signed off by the engineer, it rings alarm bells when the province isn't.
well, like, the engineer signed off on it because he designed it.
Yeah, I know.
But the mistakes, how's he gonna be held accountable moving forward if there's issues with the province?
Yeah, and so what I'll do is I will reach out to the project engineer and to the colony itself to see if I can get some information on why they pulled it closer to the roadway, and also I want to chat with the engineer about why we didn't review the variation order or the front setbacks as well, because they were very specific with setbacks between the edge of the lagoon and the residence, and they laid all the dimensions out. It's not like they weren't aware of the dimensions. So
First one's perfect.
yeah, because again, it just because it's on the table doesn't mean it needs to be approved or denied at this point in time. We can gather more information. So
We'll just wait on that then, okay? So does
Yeah.
that go to the variation part too? Everything
Yeah, we
will just
would-
wait on both?
yeah, we can't do a variation order if we haven't established the use. So we'll just take both hearings and we'll just defer it out to January, and that should give me plenty of time to bring in more information. If there is other questions that the council would like information on prior to the January meeting, please shoot me an email, and I can gather as much information as I can.
Okay, thank you very much, Rachel.
Can I ask one question,
Go ahead.
going back to the, what did you ask, the class 3, or the?
Oh,
Part 3? Can you, I know with everything going on and buildings and that, have you made any plans for your time schedule and your office's time schedule?
So basically what we would be looking at for part 3 would be large farm buildings. So where other jurisdictions, we'll use Neepawa for an example, they have large scale hospitals, they've got large hotels, they've got other occupancies that require a lot more involvement. With a large part 3 farm building, there isn't as much involvement, and so I'm not overly worried about the time schedule. We've kind of taken the administrator's role, so Bev Walker, and we've kind of turned it from just simply administration to more of an office manager situation, where she does all the zoning prep, so she does all the preparation for all of the hearings and all of that sort of those applications. And as you guys can see, we have a lot of them, so those definitely take a lot of time. We've also relinquished subdivision signing authority, so that used to take a lot of our time. So where we are still somewhat involved with the initial application, we don't do all the processing of the subdivisions. And again, it will all depend on years. So this year we have 6, and we call them ITS permits, so inspection and technical services permits within the office. They're all large part 3 farm. There isn't a lot of involvement. So obviously there is the same amount of inspections. You're looking at foundations, you're looking at wall structures, you're looking at roof structures. There is actually less involvement from an inspector and plans review because there is design professionals. So where in a house or a Part 9 permit, you have a stamp from an engineer granting his carrying of liability and approval on the foundation. In a Part 3, they're required to stamp everything. So if there is, and we'll use a potato storage facility because there is makeup air and there's mechanical systems that have to be put in place in some of those facilities. Those have to be designed by an engineer and they have to be stamped by an engineer. And that is a requirement from the province right now. So it's not like we're adding to requirements for the planning district. So, and because I have a mentor for the next 4 years, in order to become fully certified, that mentor will also be doing the reviews at the same time of those projects, because it's technically his name that gets attached to the permit, not mine, because I don't have provincial authority yet. So there will be a dividing of time, and don't get me wrong, during the busy season we can be quite swamped, and there are lots of times where I have to defer phone calls, emails, that kind of stuff. But I don't think 6 extra permits a year is gonna completely swamp me to the point where I'm not gonna be able to operate. So.
Okay, so you're busy. Like, I'm just wondering if we need to talk about maybe another staff member or something. Like if and that is, I'm wondering now if you break down all your different portions of your job, you know, like for January, and what percentage are you doing this? What percentage are you doing that? How, like, because obviously everything's getting bigger, everything's getting busier. So maybe that is something we need to look at, is maybe you need a part-time office person, or like.
It is something that we talked about, and it's again. We as in myself and Bev.
Okay.
So again, with just the two of us in the office, the breakdown has to be between the two of us.
Right.
So we basically decided that we would leave it for a year, and we would see, because obviously there are some years that we have lots of structures, and there are Part 3 structures, and there are some years where we have very little. So we have 6 this year. We only had about 3 or 4 last year. We had some in town where those were different types of Part 3 permits, renovations to kitchens and that sort of stuff. But those are very few and far between. So there aren't a lot of planning districts who operate with Part 3 authority that don't have an additional Part 9 inspector. Now, we are a large planning district and we have a lot of projects on the go. But I'd like to take a year and if we do go into Part 3, because it would basically be the 2 municipalities that would be seeking for the Part 3 approval. It wouldn't be, I don't know if the town would be into stepping into that just yet. And then we would see. I don't want to make any decisions on whether or not we needed additional personnel until we basically have a year under our belt. So, because we will be pulling another employee into the planning district as my mentor. Because they have to be listed as a designated employee under the municipalities for liability insurance and errors and emission insurance. So we're already looking at bringing a 3rd person in, and the idea of bringing a 4th is just a little too much for us right now.
So do we offset his wage when he's working for you?
No, so basically all of the wage for the Part 3 mentor will come from the permit. So we will take, and that's something that the board needs to decide, because I have two different options. They both basically calculate in mileage from Brandon to Carberry. There is some calculation on number of hours they plan to associate per project. Basically, we're looking about at least 7 hours per project, and then their time associated per hour. But we're going to try to catch all of the mentor, or we will. We're not going to try. All of the Part 3 mentor budget will come out of the permits themselves. So that we're not affecting the planning district budget at all, other than the supplemental income coming in from those Part 3 permits. So.
Oh, that's good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, so it's one of those things. We know there's going to be some growing pains, and with that being said, without subdivisions, without the zoning bylaw review, without the larger projects kind of looming and taking over time, we should, as long as we keep on top of things, we should be able to get through them. Now, again, there's always hiccups and there's always growing pains, but between the two of us, we should be able to manage. And if at the end of the year it's too much, then we can kind of address it. So yeah, we'll take 2024, and again, as long as the municipalities are comfortable with that, we'll take 2024 and go that route. So it's for, and especially because obviously it's not like we have potato sheds popping up every day. Once one's built, that's those are generally, we have a fair bit of time between the next time that producer is going to put up a potato shed And honestly, those potato sheds and large farm storage, those are the permits we're gonna see. And honestly, 6 this year was a lot. I wasn't expecting that many, so.
Okay, good questions, Robbie, thank you. Anybody else got any comments for Rachel?
Yeah, so what we'll do for part 3 is we'll put together, I'll send out a resolution to council. I'll also do a breakdown of our time and how we're allocating time currently and how we plan to allocate it in the future. And then I'll also kind of do a breakdown of what the costing to the planning district is, even though we're taking it out of the permit fees. Because again, depending on how many permits we bring in and the permit fee structure, there will be a lot of moving parts on what we can do to address, because we don't want to put any additional costing onto the municipalities for the operation of the planning district. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else got any questions, comments? Okay, resolution 304-2023, be it resolved the public hearing regarding a conditional use order and variation orders be adjourned at 10:02 and that the regular meeting of council resume. Can I have a mover, please? Malcolm, seconder. Robbie? Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you very much. Resolution 305-2023, be it resolved that council approve the variation order number B009-23-NCL for Carl Birch, applicant on behalf of the registered owners 3944230 Manitoba Limited, of property legally described as 83103 PTH1 ORG PT Northwest 61114 WPM in the Municipality of North Cypress-Langford, located approximately 1/2 mile west of the intersection of PTH1 and PTH5, to increase the maximum parcel size from 10 acres to 11.4 acres to allow for specialized agricultural use parcel within the AG Agricultural General Zone. Subject to the following conditions. Number 1, approval of this application is condition of subdivision file number 4155228448. Can I have a mover, please?
Yeah.
Harold, seconder.
Oops, yeah.
Dallas. Anybody got any more discussion on that? All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. Next will be tabled, then, I assume. We don't need to make a motion to table or anything like that, we just table. Subdivision applicant number 4155238566 Beaumont. Resolution 308-2023, whereas council has received an application from Jim Beaumont, applicant on behalf of the registered owner James Radford, file number 4155238566 for subdivision of the property legally described as Northeast 351415 WPM. Approval subject to the following conditions: that a conditional use order be obtained allowing for the establishment of the rural non-farm dwelling site within the AGR Agricultural Livestock Operation Restricted Zone. That a variation order be obtained allowing the reduction of the minimum parcel size of an agricultural parcel from 80 acres to 58.3 acres. Number 3, that a variation order be obtained allowing the reduction of the minimum front yard setback of 125 feet, 0 inches should be, or 20, pardon me, for the existing location of the dwelling on the 10-acre parcel.
That front, pardon me, that one setback's 125 feet down to,
0?
no, it should be 116 feet.
116, okay, sorry.
That makes more.
That's the
That
better.
makes better sense.
Oh, wow, how is that gonna work?
Yeah, no, it's
Wondering.
100, yeah, so it's set back from 125 down to 116 for the existing dwelling.
Okay,
Yeah.
you got that, Teresa?
Got it.
Okay, let's continue on here. Number 4.
Oh,
That a variation order be obtained allowing the reduction of the minimum rear yard setback from 50 feet to 0, is that okay?
23.
23. 23 feet for the sheds located on the 10-acre parcel. Number 5, that future access to the remaining parcel be at the cost of the applicant. Number 6, all legal costs incurred be the responsibility of the applicant. Can I have a mover, please? Robbie, second Malcolm. Any questions on all of that, anybody, now that we got those two straightened out?
Has everyone had a chance to look at the aerials on this one? They might help a little bit on the, so this parcel is located north, so it's an odd road, it's like 85.5. It's straight north of Highway
North of
16.
municipal shop.
Yeah, basically, yeah, and so there is a shed that lies on the adjacent property that will be moved into the property, and obviously they have to maintain the proper setback, but there is one shed that is just a little bit too close, and then obviously the house, so the 125 feet, that's not a new setback by any means, but this is not a brand new yard site, so there's just, we see these type of setbacks issues all the time with yard site subdivisions, so yeah, pretty straightforward other than a couple little blips, so.
Anybody else got any comments, questions on that? All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. Zoning bylaw revisions.
Yeah, so I had sent that through. There were some changes that I did agree with. There were some changes that I felt were unnecessary. I'm not sure how the council feels. Obviously, there was some suggestions from Neepawa Area Planning in the town of Neepawa about including things. You know, we circulated this out to the province 3 times for their comment and involvement. It's the only reason why the functional design of PTH 16 wasn't included. They never once suggested that we include any additional wording or any additional maps. I have requested that they send me all that information to have in the office, because obviously if we were going to have development, we would like to know that there is some potential future issues with the locations of structures. And we have it. It's no different than the flood elevation maps. That's information that we keep in the office. Did we feel necessary to include it in the bylaw? Not really. It's something that we deal with on a case by case as applications roll through. Obviously, we want to include the Neepawa Airport. Obviously, we need to have that in there. That was definitely an error on our part. Now I went through, and again, I detailed it all 1 through 9 as they had listed, Neepawa Area Planning and the town of Neepawa had kind of laid out for them. Some of the comments I agree with. I mean, simple changes. There were some things that we had blended some zones together, which is why they didn't really meet what they had seen in the past. That doesn't mean that they aren't a good zone or that they aren't going to work for what North Cypress-Langford needs. And we obviously want to be as understanding for our adjacent municipalities as possible, especially knowing that there is a lot of potential growth coming south from Neepawa. But we also want to make sure that we're covering the ratepayers in North Cypress-Langford appropriately. Yeah. So again, the livestock, the terminology. So I went through and there were some zones that we wanted to make sure, and I can appreciate that they have some concerns. The province had no concerns. A lot of the wording that we used was suggested by the province. So I'm not, again, I went through it. I've detailed it all out in the letter I wrote to council. If you're comfortable with the changes that I've made and you're comfortable with my suggestions on what to keep and what not to keep from their suggestions, we would like to kind of get this ready for second public hearing, because obviously that takes time with appropriate timelines on posting and whatnot. But we will circulate it out again as part of the public hearing process, and they could come back and make the same comments again. Now, council needs to make the decision on whether or not, and obviously not right now, because that'll be part of the public hearing, but you need to make the decision on whether or not, if they do come back, that you're going to, take those considerations into and adopt them into the bylaw. But I'm pretty confident with the corrections we've made from what we had to what we have now, that we've at least made an attempt to take it from something that they weren't totally comfortable with to something that they'll be more comfortable with. So. And yeah, there were some suggestions on terminology. Now again, this is making the assumption that I stay at the planning district for a while. I don't plan on going anywhere. So the idea of animal keeping and the keeping of livestock, the terminology to me it's one and the same. Like, I didn't feel like it was necessary to make that change because we would have to change it all the way through. It's not just a simple edit. And then short-term rentals. So we talked about short-term rentals a lot during the committee and during the committee discussions, as you gentlemen remember. I would strongly recommend that if once the bylaws are adopted, and I've kind of been waiting for North Cypress-Langford's to come to fruition before I take it to, because it will affect all 3 bylaws. I suggest a short-term rental internal policy, no different than how we have secondary suites. So I've got 2 ready to go. Once we get this bylaw up and ready and running, I'll submit them to councils for review. So
Airbnb.
basically,
Okay.
yeah, short-term rentals are the Airbnbs of the world, and I strongly recommend that if council, because we have included them as conditional, they are conditionally approved through council, that if we have them, that you guys have a policy on the requirements for operating them.
Yeah.
And any municipality, it would be a strong suggestion that we have that. So
It came out at convention. That
you betcha, yeah.
Yeah, the
Very
honor
much.
roll area is having a heck of a
And then not
time.
only
betcha.
to make a policy, but have like a standing list.
Yes.
Where you have to register anything that is currently operational.
For sure, yeah. And we, I use we a lot. It's the royal we, it's just me. I have a list in the office of Airbnbs that I'm aware of from VRBO and Airbnb in the area. More specific for fire department issues than for the municipality issues and the town issues, but just again, so because those are concerns, because you have the transient occupancy, then you have to be concerned with what's happening in the structure and the dwelling itself. So, but yeah, no, it's definitely a policy needs to be put in place for short-term rentals. A policy needs to be put in place for secondary suites, because that is very different. That's the granny flat, not a short-term rental, but those granny flats could turn into short-term rentals. So definitely want to address them and how those 2 are going to tie together and how that we're going to practically apply them. But I do have something ready to go for everybody, because obviously we're going to need secondary coverage, not just the bylaw, but we need the secondary coverage. So.
Okay, anything else on that? Everybody good with that?
Honestly, at this point, I've gone over it so many times that it kind of bleeds together. But again, if everyone's comfortable with the 9 comments that they had and the way I've handled it, we'll proceed into prepping for your next public hearing. So.
Great, thank you very much.
Perfect.
Any other comments for Rachel? Okay, thank you, Rachel.
Thanks, Rach.
Give me 2 seconds to write a note to myself. Was there anything else planning-wise? Nothing that comes up?
Nothing right now.
I will
Already
say-
said- Covered the idea what we were talking about, yeah.
Yeah, I will let you all know. So there's a bit of a dispute between a homeowner and a contractor, and then the planning district is kind of smack dab in the middle. With the way it's all come out, and with no positive movement from contractor to address issues, the way the Langford building bylaw is written is that the homeowner is responsible for the property itself if for some reason the contractor isn't going to deal with the issues. Now, the contractor has made lots of comment about we will come in when we're allowed on site, which is neither here nor there. The issues need to get addressed. So we did have to take the order from the contractor and issue it to the homeowner, basically saying, here are your issues. Here is the reason why from the Langford zoning bylaw that gives us the authority from the planning district to say you're responsible and that you need to be maintaining your trades. And it's really unfortunate because generally speaking, you want the contractor to fix the issues, you give the order to the contractor. But when there's no movement, in all intensive purposes, the homeowner and the registered owner is legally responsible for the project in the house. So they were issued an order. It does have an appeal process, and with Langford being part of North Cypress-Langford, that appeal would have to come to your table, and it would be an appeal for me to alter or change or rescind my order for them to fix it. So just giving you all a heads up, they have 15 days as of, I think it was the 5th. You remember, Ray, when I sent that email? I think it was the 5th.
Sorry,
Yeah.
just curiosity, is it Ward 6 or 5?
It's
East
6. Ward 6.
Great.
Yeah, so at this point in time, we've been working with the contractor and the homeowner since April. We keep laying out the conditions that need to be met. The contractor says, yeah, we'll come fix it. The homeowner says, okay, come fix it, but we want it done this way. And there's no movement. And unfortunately, we need the things addressed. And there are, I'm not saying that there isn't some large issues that need to get
Affecting the
addressed.
occupancy or?
No, the homeowner's living in it. The issues of occupancy, the items that are there that could be potentially negatively impact the occupancy are being dealt with and have been dealt with.
So
There are
safety, it's not a big safety issue?
no. So there were 2 items that needed to be addressed for safety. There's a shingle touching the chimney within the for lack of a better term, the shroud. So so for some reason when they shingled, they brought a shingle in too close. It's curled down and it's actually making contact with the chimney. We've laid out how they need to do that and how to fix that. You need to maintain a 2-inch clearance around a chimney. So he hasn't actually been using the fireplace because of that. And then the other issue was the venting, the hose, or it should be, so when you vent a range hood, it's supposed to be a rigid pipe within the wall space. Basically, if you can't see it, it's got to be rigid because you don't want grease-laden vapors and things collecting in the corrugation, some of the corrugated hosing. So that needs to be replaced. So obviously they can't be using the range hood. They're well aware of that. There's other issues with the range hood that involves makeup air. It's a very large range hood. So that needs to get addressed. So the items that would be of a concern for fire safety, they are well aware of, and that they know they can't be operating those systems. But there are other issues, and the engineer is involved, and contractors are involved, and but again,
So you're working through that.
I am working through that. I've been working with them since April, trying to get some items addressed, and basically as soon as the contractor said, well, give us a call when we can come to site, I had to issue an order to the homeowner. And I really didn't want to, but when push comes to shove, they are responsible for their property. And it's attached to their property, so.
Is there a lawyer involved?
Not from the planning district side as of yet. I'm assuming that's where this project will end up. Now with that being said, I have not been notified that there is legal counsel involved. There has been some threats from both sides, not only to homeowner to contractor, contractor to homeowner, and homeowner to potentially us as the planning district. Again, this is why we have orders and why we have dates. We've issued 3 deficiency lists. Now those aren't orders to remedy. Those are simply lists of deficiencies that need to get fixed. This is a formal order, which is why it's included with the appeals process, which is listed out in the Langford building bylaw, which is another bylaw we'll have to address in the new year because that thing is ancient. And
if at all possible, could you just fire me off an email?
you
with
betcha.
some information, please?
I can
Just
bring you up to speed on this one.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Grayson's well versed on this
Rachel,
one.
any
So.
questions from anybody else? Thank you very much.
Awesome. Well, again,
Merry Christmas.
yeah, we won't have a planning district meeting in December, but you all have a lovely holiday, and hopefully the weather smartens up a bit.
We better not complain, yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Rachel.
Rachel. Have a good week. Thank you. Bylaws. Bylaw 12, 2023, Carberry Transfer Station Fees. Resolution 309, 2023, resolved that bylaw number 12, 2023, to set the Carberry Transfer Station fees and charges hereby be read a second time, be referred to council. Can I have a mover, please?
Grant.
Seconder?
Harold.
Harold? Any questions? Can you make comments on those prices, Teresa, or
Not this time, I
not
can't.
this time? Okay.
Because they were going to be added after the first round, were they not be up to, I forget on the first read if they were bumped up to match
Match evergreens.
Evergreen was doing, or?
Yes,
was it-
and ours
or was
didn't,
it between?
and ours didn't match the towns.
Yeah.
So this is to bump ours up to match
Yeah,
the towns,
I
to
was-
match Evergreens.
Should this
Make
So
be-
it'd
sure-
be 88.25 per ton, effective January 1st, 2024.
That was the first one, but did we not bump it a bit after that?
86.25 was the first amount that
Okay.
we were charging before.
Okay.
88.25 will be the new amount.
Okay. You're okay with that then?
Sound correct?
That sound like there, I forget whether we did the first read to open it up and then it was gonna get bumped again, or if that was the bump we needed.
Well, if we're worried at all, we can always pass this and then table the third one.
Do you wanna do this a second and then double?
Or, no, we can't, we can't make changes after the second
After the
read.
second.
I would say maybe we table this and get the right numbers in place.
I forget, do you guys recall whether or not?
I thought it was bumped up to $300.
I have a gut feeling it was gonna get bumped before we
I
did second
suggest we
read.
table this.
Table this.
Just
till
to
it's
get-
up
just to get
for-
firm
I think-
that we're
I think the
correct,
town will
that we're
understand.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just, you know, we
If we
just
can make
catch up
sure we
on,
get it done at this
catch
summer,
up on
so it's
payments
on
if
in
we're
January, right?
after.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's table that then, okay? Thank you. Okay, unfinished business and joint resolutions. Resolution 311, 2023, be it resolved that the joint committee hire Craig Dirksen as a Parks and Recreation Working Foreman as of December 11, 2023, and terms be set out in the employment agreement. And further be it resolved that the cost be shared 50-50 between the Municipality of North Cypress-Langford and the town of Carberry. May I have a mover, please?
Homestead.
Dallas, seconder.
No,
Robbie's got his hand up down there, sorry, Malcolm.
that's fine.
Any questions, comments, Trish? Or Teresa, you had that this morning?
I had a meeting with him this morning. He seems like a pretty good guy.
Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you very much. Resolution number 312, 2023, be it resolved the joint committee increase Sylvia Swanapool's wage to $24.44 per hour and wages be backdated to the first pay period of 2023. And further be it resolved that the cost be shared 50-50 between the Municipality of North Cypress-Langford and the town of Carberry. Can I have a mover, please? Malcolm, second Robbie. Any questions on that one, anyone? Comments?
Just some backstory, like Sylvia works alone, kind of on her own in the bowling alley, so there's just a folk that was kind of missed the last bump. So it's,
Okay.
good old Sylvia needs to be, I think it's gonna be added on to just a general joint, like a Parks and Rec, just kind of a note that for now on it'll just be not missed.
Okay, any more questions, same for that? Dallas? Yep. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you very much, everybody. General business, emergency plan, resolution 313, 2023, be it resolved the council approve the 2024 municipal emergency response plan as presented. Can I have a mover, please? Dallas, seconder. Davidson. Any comments, Teresa? Anybody else got any comments on that? Everybody sort of went over it, not, I think you did all right there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no questions, all in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. NCL server plate replacement, resolution 314, 2023. Be it resolved that the council accept the quote from Brandon Computers in the amount of $873.59, including taxes, to replace the server with a mini PC. We have a mover, please. Robbie, seconder. Malcolm?
Yeah.
Any questions on that? We need her to, Teresa?
Yeah, it would be very beneficial.
And this is their recommendation to go with the mini PC?
That is.
It'll have enough horsepower?
Yes, and it's, then everything goes to the cloud too. instead of, we have a lot of problems with Munisoft and issues that way. This way they'll be able to deal with things much more directly
Okay.
than they have been.
Awesome.
Okay, good, thank you. Any more questions? All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. Utility rate study, resolution 315-2023, be it resolved that council accept the quote from Way to Go Consulting in the amount of $1,800, taxes not included, for the utility rate adequacy review and simplified rate application. Can I have a mover for that, please? Bill, a seconder?
Excuse me.
Seconder? Malcolm? Anything to say on that, Teresa?
We're behind on our audit, and so we're waiting on that to get our utility rate adequacy review done. It should have happened last year, but because of circumstances, we weren't able to because of the audit, so. No, that has nothing to do with it. This has to do with the rates. Yeah, and so, our term was due the end of 2023, so, or 2022 actually, but because our audit was so delayed,
Yeah, I remember this.
we couldn't apply, and so
And this
we're
is
catching up
the same
now.
guy that did last time, right?
Yes,
Right?
yes.
It's just a different name this time, isn't it? Or is it the same name?
Was it under his own, well, as long as it's the
It
same
could,
guy.
yeah, it's the
Same
same
person.
person.
Same
It
person,
is the
just
same person.
different.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what,
yeah,
that was my understanding.
yeah.
Okay, any more questions on that? I think
That's
let's
good.
get it going, thank you very much. All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. Brookdale Community Center grant request there.
Yes. The Brookdale Community Club is dealing with installing a new ice plant as well as other yearly maintenance to the facility. Dealing with all of this has dropped their bank account to $5,000, and we have outstanding bills attached that we're wondering if we would be able to get a reserve money, I believe around $29,000, to carry us through the installment of our new plant.
And I believe they wanted to reach out with us to a plan after as to how to help fund the facility in the future, I believe was what they were hoping.
Could be.
Didn't we
Because
say we
this
were
will
gonna
pretty
pull that
much
money out
cut
of
down
the rec
most of
reserve?
it, right?
I think they
Yes.
were gonna pull that out of their
Would
rec
run the
reserve for them.
reserve pretty
For now,
low.
yes.
Yeah.
Yep,
And then help figure out what's going on in the future to help bring the numbers back up.
Well, basically, the numbers went down because of COVID.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they were in a positive account till COVID hit.
Yeah.
And have they ever made a request for the reserves?
That's
This
what
is
they're
it.
doing
This is
right
it.
here.
That's
right here.
This is it here.
pull out of that. And they have enough reserve there to
And that will
cover
limit it
That'll
right down.
Take it right down pretty well, yeah.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but this is why we have reserves.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep, yep,
Very
that's
well.
right.
And
We
make
need a
a
resolution for this?
Yes, sir.
Resolution, yeah, we
Need a
do need a
motion for that?
resolution.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Chairman, make a resolution to pay that to Brookdale Community Center. Malcolm seconded.
Jared and Malcolm.
Did you write down there for a
I haven't
resolution?
put anything yet. I'm not.
Okay, fine.
Be it resolved, that council grant Brookdale Rec with their reserve with,
Funds requested. Because I think they even gave a number, didn't they?
yeah,
Okay, just use their number. If you're okay with that, you're the one who
Yep.
motioned it. Sorry, Jared.
$29,000 as requested from their reserves. Or from reserves. So be it resolved that council grant the Brookdale Rec with $29,000 as requested from reserves.
That would be resolution 317 then?
Yeah.
Okay, we got a mover and seconder. Everybody okay with that? All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you very much. 2023 Accessibility Plan, Resolution 317, 2023. Be it resolved that council approve the Municipality of North Cypress-Langford's 2023 Accessibility Plan as presented, and further be it resolved that council appoint Teresa Parker as the Accessibility Coordinator for the Municipality of North Cypress-Langford. Can we have a mover, please? Or Jaren, second Robbie.
Did you get the updates for the courthouse?
Yes, I did.
Good catch there.
Thank you for your help, John.
Yep.
Any questions on any of that? Pretty coverage, a lot of coverage there. Okay, thank you, everybody. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. AllNet Connect, Resolution 318, 2023. Be it resolved that council accept the contract from Catalyst as presented for a 4-year term for AllNet Connect as of January 1st, 2024. Can we have a mover, please? Malcolm. Seconder? Harold? Comments, Teresa?
I don't have any at this moment.
Okay. Call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. ESSL and Mobile Fuel Card Program, you got anything on that?
Have you been presented this?
I don't think so.
They were offering they've come in a couple of times actually, looking for support from North Cypress-Langford, and offering a rebate on fuel, and a rebate card on 8 cents a liter for every liter purchased during the first 7 months of the account. It looks like after that, it would be 0.05% on unleaded fuel discount, 0.055 liter per liter on diesel fuel after that.
I guess this is just maybe do our due diligence when we're shopping for fuel.
Well, I think the big thing is
Local here, this is true.
our fuel tanks have been requested to be
Yeah.
worked on,
Yeah.
right?
Actual
The
gas
gasoline
tank.
tanks.
Yes.
It's not really worth replacing for all the
Yep.
right purchase. That
That's right.
the thought was to do just a card program somewhere else just for the
Yeah.
fleet trucks.
Don't we get fuel from the AMM trading company now?
Yeah, but this here is on the
Technically.
small tanks that we have to replace for the municipality.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And instead of replacing them, we're looking at just getting our card and buying locally.
Yeah.
Is that not the
Yeah, no, our
right
gas
way
tank,
we're looking
when
at
it was
it?
audited, isn't double walled, so the actual
yeah.
gas tank isn't
Um,
good enough out there.
First question, that's ESSO, is it
That is correct.
Yeah. That's out at
Redford.
Robin's Nest.
Well, isn't it Redford here?
No, it's Esso.
It's Esso there?
Esso.
Yeah,
Yeah.
out there,
On the
yeah.
highway.
They're the ones who came and offered the discount.
Yeah.
And a suggestion, it be referred to the equipment committee to be reviewed when we review
Absolutely.
fuel.
Sounds good.
I think, yeah.
That would probably be the best bet, and then we'll review it properly.
Okay, details.
Get, you know,
Mm-hmm.
anybody else around
Just
to.
Give everybody else an
Same thing.
opportunity also.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good
sounds
idea.
great.
Okay?
It's not, I don't think there's anything wrong with the offer, but. we
No.
have to follow procedure.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
right, Harold. Assiniboine Delta Aquifer Management Advisory Board, ADAM, Resolution 319, be it resolved that the council appoint Jaren Davidson as a member to the Assiniboine Delta Aquifer Management Advisory Board. Can I have a mover, please?
Homestead.
Homestead, second by Robbie. I see his hand up down there. Okay with going on that, Jaren?
Yep.
Any questions, anybody? All in favor? You're in. Carried, thank you very much.
We're having a meeting this Thursday.
Carberry Transfer Station Building Tender, Resolution 320-2023, be it resolved that council approve a quote from Dixon Custom Construction in the amount of $130,029.13, including taxes, for the construction for a building for the Carberry Transfer Station. And further be it resolved, the cost be shared 50-50 between the Municipality of North Cypress-Langford and the town of Carberry. Can I have a mover, please? Grant, seconder? Dallas. Grant. Looking at building a building for out at the facility out there to do it.
Where was this advertised?
Pardon me?
Where was the tender advertised?
How did they put that? County put that, that's right too, yeah. I think we had, what, 6 tenders or something?
Yeah, there was lots.
There was quite a few tenders. The highest was 600 or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah.
I heard.
I thought
there
this
was
one's out.
Yeah.
to lunch on
But
something.
the
Yeah.
3 local ones were all pretty
Yeah,
comparable.
2 were really close, and this one actually just included some inside covers, right? So it was, yeah, turnkey.
Questions, discussions on that?
Because
Pardon me?
I work for South End and I don't know if they got notified about this or not. So,
The only thing just a quick comment for this, when you take it back, talking with the town, I didn't see any spray foam in there. The bottom of the building, the outside perimeter, which is something I've seen in construction lately, when you're doing a tinned outside, is to go in with 2 inches of spray foam. It stops the critters coming up the outside walls as bad, adds an extra layer of barrier, and then you use a 2x4 bad insulation of rock salt on the inside. You have a lot less pest problems than being a garbage dump. That was a suggestion for a garage on my own farm property. Just something to think about.
I made a comment back to them on the email on that regarding that, so.
Okay.
Any more questions, discussion on that then? All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. Added to the agenda, EMO workshops, Resolution 321-2023. Be it resolved, the council approved Teresa Parker to attend the Municipal Climate Adaptation and Disaster Mitigation Workshops at Elkhorn Resort on February 20th, 24th. Costs to include mileage. Can I have a mover, please? Robbie, seconder. Grant. Any questions on heading there for Teresa? All in favor? Carried, thank you. Mammoth, Module 7. Resolution 322-2023, be it resolved, the council approved Teresa Parker to attend the Mammoth Module 7 at Portage La Prairie on January 23rd, 2024. Costs to include mileage. Could we have a motion, please? Or a mover, please?
No.
Homestead and Malcolm. Any questions on that, Teresa?
No, it's the 7th module of 8. They basically do one every 2 months.
That's your emergency training?
That's emergency training, yes,
Yep.
yeah.
Lunch is included for you?
Yes,
Okay.
in both. The first one's through the province, the second is through Maine.
I just wanted to make sure it was included.
Yep.
Any other questions, comments, anybody? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Communications, these are all information. Touchwood Park, thank you. Ronald McDonald's a support. Carberry Mountain Hockey support. Jody Byram, formal meet. Blue Hills Detachment report. Hand support request. You have a comment on that?
Did you review it?
These were all sent out, I think, were they not? Yep. Municipal Relations and Northern Relations, 2023 Rural Strategic Infrastructure Funding, yeah. Spruce Plains Detachment, Stats, and Department of Justice, Silo Fire.
So they're not taking any responsibility for that?
No.
I didn't think they would.
Okay.
There's not much more we can do for that either, is there?
We tried.
They're requesting, Hand is requesting that the same contribution a member for a board which has been Donna Newton, and a 55-cent per capita donation to the organization for 2024 be considered.
Is that the standard?
Aye, that's just an outstanding thing, is it not? What we always do.
Did you get this in your email?
I did. I can't remember if there's a slight increase from last year.
It's saying we would request at the same contribution, so
Okay, same, okay,
possibly,
yeah.
Comes
yeah.
out of grants, it's a
Okay, yeah.
yearly thing.
I
Yeah,
think so.
yeah.
Okay. And then a member of council is invited to attend their annual meeting in spring of 2024. Date and time to be determined.
Yeah, I unfortunately missed their one this spring, past spring, that's my fault, sorry.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions regarding communications? Around the table. Grant?
Basically, I have nothing to add, other than the Health Action Committee.
Go ahead.
We have a doctor that's supposedly coming this week, and to see around. I don't know what the date, if he's here coming this week, or have you heard anything, Teresa?
14.
I did see something
Yeah.
just this morning, but I'm not sure on date. I'm sorry, Grant.
Right.
I can.
It is sometime this week.
Yeah.
The doctor is gonna show up in Carberry, and he's going around he wants to come over. Basically, there's lots of red tape, and it's mostly from the medical side of it, and that should be fast-tracked. And we hope to know more in January if it's a go or not. On the London doctor, we have another application from another doctor, and we deferred the decision to pursue it till the medical relations, Dr. Ong, if he has the qualifications. We're not too excited yet, but it looks like we got a good opportunity to get 2 doctors. As far as the firemen meetings, basically the fire department needs an air compressor real bad. The one they got is the seals, everything's gone, and basically they can't even fill their air tanks on call up to the right PSI. So they're fundraising like crazy with the fireman's ball, but it could come in around the $20,000-$30,000 range. Right now, they're just basically, if they get a real serious fire, they would be able to keep up. So that's the only thing that they're really fundraising about.
The Nipawin department, when they just rebuilt their fire hall, their tank assembly is able to help fill other supporting districts.
right?
Just make sure the guys reach out if they ever needed it.
Right.
Because that comment was made to me when I toured the Nipawin hall.
And that's about it for now.
Okay, thank you. Malcolm?
Nothing right now. Thank you.
Jaron?
Well, just thanks to the guys for coordinating with school bus routes and keeping the ice scraped off where they can. It's been tricky weather this year, so.
Robbie?
I'm good, thank you.
Harold?
I'm good.
Dallas?
Thanks to those who came out and helped with the parades. Good success. Apart from that, I think I'm good for now.
Teresa?
I agree. Thanks to everyone who helped with the parade. It was fun, very enjoyable. Nice to see a lot of smiling faces out there. Another thing to discuss would be Gopher will be retiring soon in January. We should probably discuss a function for him.
I think we were looking at trying to find a date as of last meeting.
Okay, and I
There is
don't, I'm not
discussion
sure.
going on
so-
that, yep.
Okay, good.
I think there was possibly like a choice of the Legion because he's a Legion member.
Yes.
One that way versus the other.
Yeah.
Anything else then?
Yeah, the other thing we just missed, Plainsmen are asking if we want to advertise for their Carberry Minor Hockey Bantam A Rural Tournament of Champions. There are 3 options: a business card advertisement for $50, half page for $75, or full page advertisement for $150.
Is that unusual?
What's the wish we usually do, I would
Yeah, you
expect?
usually do, yeah.
It's usually a business card or the next one, I can't remember which. You remember, Harold?
Did it tell us what we needed? They have a meeting.
It doesn't say, but I'm sure I could ask them. But we would need a resolution, I think, to
See
approve.
100 really being an issue, right?
Nowadays,
50 versus
yes.
100 doesn't go very far.
What's everybody think of 100?
That'd be okay? Okay.
Well, they have 50, 75, or 150.
Oh,
Then go 75.
75?
sure.
So it'll be a half-page advertisement.
Okay, sure.
Right?
So we need a resolution on that.
Yes,
Dallas,
please.
seconder. Malcolm, can we take a $75 sponsorship?
Advertisement. Should be a result. My fast writing here, right?
It's all right. We're doing good.
So, be it resolved that council support the Bantam A Rural Tournament. With a $75 advertising fee.
Okay, we got a mover and a seconder. Any other discussion on that? That would be resolution 2323. Right?
Yep.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you very much. Anything else there, Teresa, while you're at it?
Was it moved by and seconded?
Dallas and Malcolm.
Thank you. That's everything, right? Thank you.
Just for myself, like the same thing. Thank you very much for everybody helping with the parades. I think they both went over very well. Nice to see so many people. We ran out of candy on both of them, so couldn't have been too bad. Good deal. Thank you very much, everyone. In camera, resolution 324, 2023, be it resolved that council as a committee of the whole move into in camera to discuss personnel matters. We have a mover, please.
Grant.
Seconder.
Harold.
All in favor? Carried, thank you very much.